Oh, I look like a bum. I don't have my shirt done up or nothing. Hey, everybody. Here we are. It's Jeff from Home Renovision back for another exciting episode of Q&A. Live shows. My goodness, why are we doing this? Well, it's because we give a damn. We are trying to help you guys out. We're going to answer questions today. Rules of engagement, simple. If you remember, ask away. Matt, can you just, yep, thank you. And then if you're not a member and you got a question, join the membership. Or if you don't want to join the membership because you're one of those people that will join and then forget to check your credit card statement for the next 30 years, then feel free to do a super chat and we will jump in and answer your question as well. That will be fine. At this point right now, it's just really, we have to limit it because there's too many people out there who have a question and we've only got 2 hours. And I'm going to be probably a bumbling idiot by the end of it because I've been working on a new project. Yeah, we've been working on a deck. Hoorah. Okay, here we go. Who's in the house? We got Yinzer house. We got Melanie Rourke is in the house. Cheers, Melanie. Chelsea's here. We got Sherry, a bunch of other folks. There's like over 100 members already in the chat. And I can't keep up with that. And that is awesome. We have a few people who joined the membership just before the live show. That's great. And hey, I think while we're here, let's give us some shout outs today. Huh? Hey, there's some shout outs for everybody else who's out there in the grown-up YouTube universe who's doing channels helping people just because they're trying to help people. I think it's awesome. That's what we're doing. And I'm not trying to pretend to be a TV star or anything. I just like to share what I got. And if it's helpful, great. And hopefully as the years go by, we will be able to do projects of a different kind of scale in different locations and be able to bring more and more information to the table to be helpful. That is why we do the live show, because I can't possibly make enough videos fast enough to help answer all your questions because you live all over different geographies, different building technologies. And so here we are. All right. There we go. So shout outs. Vancouver Carpenter. Love him. He's a good guy. He's Canadian as well. If you haven't seen his channel, you should check it out. Vancouver Carpenter. He's a good bloke. Also, our buildings. I know he's a little different. He does post beam construction. It's a totally different world than what I do, but I like to watch his stuff once in a while just because it helps my creative juices flow. And we actually just finished shooting a shed series that's coming out, I believe, on Saturday. Am I right about that, Matt? Saturday is the beginning of our brand new shed series. And what we did is a ground level deck with an integrated post and beam shed, because people need sheds even if we're in a recession, even if money's tight, even if things are expensive. It's a very cheap way to build. So that's why we did it. And it should be very helpful. And remember, whenever you build anything, I don't care if it's a recession or not, you're going to get 300% return on your investment. So it's always a good fit. All right, let's jump in here. We've got somebody from Australia in the chat, which means you are up extremely early. Must be 5 o'clock in the morning over there. That's amazing. All right, for the rest of Australia, we're here for 2 hours. You don't have to get in the chat till almost 7. Oh my goodness. Now listen, I understand if you're watching this on rerun, when we do these shows, we're basically 5 to 7 Eastern Standard Time. Not everybody can join that. I get it. Oh, okay. It's just 7 a.m. Thank you for correcting me. You're only 10 hours behind or ahead. Probably ahead. Yeah, it's already tomorrow for them. Okay. I got Matt in the house. He's running the board for me. And we are going to jump into some questions right now because I don't have much else to do. I'm not going to waste any time. Time is precious. Okay. We're right at the top of the chat. So let me see what I can see here and we will go from there. If I missed your question, just ask it again. Don't mind me. We got a super chat here. How do I get my newborn to stop crying so much? Ooh, that's actually a really good question. I was a big fan of Tempra. I drugged my kids and it knocked them out. Yep, you got it. Now let's move on. Luke, top of the page there. Give me another line there, Matty. There we go. He said he bought an old family house with 0 insulation walls. Would tearing out the lath and plaster, filling with insulation, and replacing with drywall be doable? What should I expect? Look out for? Yeah, it's just like my farmhouse, Luke. Just follow the kitchen progress. It's dusty, it's dirty. There may be asbestos. Wear a good mask, okay? Don't screw around with that. But once you've got it ripped out, really the secret to a long-term process like that is to deal with the outside and the inside. So if you just add insulation, If you're in a region where you get 4-season climate and your winter is as long as your summer, then you'll be using vapor barrier just like in my farmhouse series. So just go ahead, go to the homepage, click in Jeff's Farmhouse, and go watch those videos. And it's not that tricky. You take off the plaster, you clean up, then you take off the lath, and then you clean up because it's a lot easier that way, right? And then you're basically gonna have to upgrade your electrical at that point. You can't take your plaster off without changing your wiring. And that's really the biggest caveat why people resist that. But it doesn't take much to wire a house. When there's no walls, an electrician can do that in about an hour and a half. All right. Now we got people jumping in the membership. Let's get caught up here. Wow. Dr. Dilettante. Rick, welcome to Money to Make. Leah, cheers. Welcome to the membership program. And Sean is joining. Everybody's going to have questions. Now, earlier, I'm going to have to find out how to say this right. Ian or Ian? Ian? You know that guy from 90210 who was in Sharknado? He had the same spelling. Do you know how he says his name? Ian. Ian, I'm sorry, I'm butchering your name. You're wondering what the best way to tie a new drain line into an existing copper drain line when you don't have any movement or play in the pipe. Ha! Yes. Okay, so if you have a pipe, you can cut out a section and then you can install a rubber gasket sleeve with gear clamps. Okay, that's the best way. So you put one on the bottom, you slide one over the top, you put in the fitting, you bring the 2 gaskets back, tighten up all those gear clamps, and then you are officially set and good to go. You don't have to have any movement at all if you do it that way. So all you do is you put on the rubber sleeves over both ends, and then you can tie in. All right. Hopefully that helps you to sort that one out. And it's an expensive way to do it. It'll cost you $25, but it'll get the job done. So cheers to getting her done. Rick Hunter is a previous member and a new rememberer. Just want to say thanks for the advice on self-leveling concrete over the tile. Worked great. I'm glad to hear that. And welcome back. Listen, you're allowed to come and go as you please. I understand, like life and economy and all that stuff. Ron's just saying cheers from Florida. Darwin out of Orlando. Cheers, Darwin. Good to see you again, buddy. Sean says his wife had him put epoxy grout in the basement bathroom. Okay. She wanted white, but now wants it black. Is there a way to stain that color or something other than removing it and regrouting it black? No. I mean, you can try, but I'm going to say it would be easier to tile a new floor on top of the existing floor or wall. I don't know if that's a floor or a wall. You're easier to tile over tile than it is to try to remove that grout and regrout. Okay. I would say that there are bigger hills worth dying on. And I would tell your wife, honey, I love you. Black would have been great, but it ain't happening. Let's move on. Okay. Here we go. How would you go about doing tile on the wall with LVP flooring? If you're asking about LVP flooring on the wall as tile, you can do that. What you want to do is go to MAPEI website, MAPEI. They have a brand new series of adhesives and sealants that you apply after the vinyl that create a waterproof shower with vinyl plank. I have yet to do a video on that yet. It's too new. I wanted to see if it lasted, if the industry accepted it, if it had some longevity before I want you experimenting with your houses. But I did see it at the trade show, and it is functioning. And they had it functioning there for 4 days. And what can you say? I mean, they obviously did enough research to realize the point is that vinyl plank has less expansion than porcelain or ceramic. So in theory, if you had any kind of a surface skinned on there, it would work. And so I like the idea. I'm not sure it's necessary, but hey, whatever. It's not like we're running out of ceramic anytime soon. So why take the risk, right? And look at this, Javier from Colombia. Cheers to you, buddy. I hope you enjoyed your vacation. For anybody who doesn't know, Javier is our editor and chief of all of our Spanish channel operations. And if English is not a language that you can follow along easily in and you want to watch in Spanish, we are uploading our videos after he translates them with Andreas from the Colombian radio down in the south. They're doing an amazing job, doing great things, and helping a lot of people. Cheers to you, buddy. It's been a while. I got to give you a call, see how your vacation went. All right, where are we, Matt? Brigitte, having a hard time choosing an in-stock window for our shower from one of the big box stores. Ordering is taking 6+ weeks right now. Yeah. Okay, so here's the deal. If you got a gelled window from Home Depot and it's a wooden jamb, is it fine for a shower? Depends on how you finish. No. Let's just say no. Brigitte, no. Take the 6 weeks. I know it's frustrating, but generally speaking, you could never get a vinyl window in less than 6 weeks anyway, maybe 4 if everybody was sleeping. So 6 weeks is probably standard. I would just bite the bullet, go the 6 weeks. Don't introduce wood into an area where you're going to have to rely on silicone for your waterproofing. And if you get one little spot that fails, it's going to go to mold and it's going to be nasty and it's going to really wreck your day. So I would say just wait for the vinyl. Okay? Don't introduce organics to that scenario. That's just a risk you don't have to take. Okay. I said Sean correctly. Yay. People don't know how to say Sean? Seriously? What do they call you? Sion? That's interesting. All right. Well, I had a Sean in my world when I was growing up, so maybe I'm just lucky. Cheers to Buckeye, Arizona, Richard. And Ron, my girls want me to build a closet organizer. Which video of yours would be best? Depends what budget you're looking at. But if you're building it yourself, I did a closet for my daughter. Basically turned the 4th bedroom into a walk-in closet. And I did all kinds of custom shelf and rod and shelving accessories. Okay. So all of the tips and tricks are there in that video for you. What is it called there? Closet A to Z or something like that. Yeah. The secret here, guys, is when you're on our homepage, there's a little magnifying glass. It's a search tool. Once you're on our homepage, you can put in a search topic, and most of the times it'll populate something that's related, depending on how, because we generally title our videos so that you can search for them based on the utility of that video. It's not all sensational, right? It's somewhat useful on a regular basis, so that should help. The window and buying siding, yeah. At this point right now, our hopes for window and siding are obliterated. And so we are going to be taking a look at that in the spring. Hopefully we can get that back up again. It's not something we're focusing on right now just because of manpower. Like everybody else, we're short. And that's all there is to it. Now, I also know that the window, door, and siding people are also short on manpower. So it's kind of hard for me to say, hey, are you guys interested in working a deal where you could help take care of my viewers and give them a deal? Because they don't even have enough people for their showroom. So just it's going to be an interesting ride the next few years. I'll tell you right now. Philip says, how do I polish the scrapes from my grout float? Rubber backer plate on Arctic white subway tiles. Big oops. I'm not even sure what we're talking about here. I'm assuming your grout float sucked and it had some holes, and so you got all kinds of grout left on your tile. If you have extra grout on your tile, the best thing you can do is go do it right away. Waiting hurts. There is a product on the shelf, and it is called Grout Haze Remover, and it'll help to soften up and lift it. Otherwise, use a little plastic drywall knives from Home Depot. You can buy a package of 3. They're yellow plastic, and you can generally use that and you can scratch pretty hard with that thing and destroy the plastic knife without affecting your tile. So that is a good start. Yeah. Harry says, hi, Jeff. Can I change sliding windows with double hung replacement with a brick exterior? And is it correct to take 3 measurements? Also, is it better to measure on the inside or outside? Okay, Harry, here's the deal. Yes, you can change it. But understand that your window jamb is based on the brick. So if you take off your window casing, the outside to outside of your casing, there's a width. And then the second number is top to bottom on the outside of your casing. So your jamb is the height. And then you can go outside and you can confirm that your brick to brick measurements are the same. The probably brick will be a little bit bigger because we do require a exterior caulking seal, polyurethane caulk. Okay. And it's not that hard. So order it up and that's all you need to know. When you're placing your order, they want the width and then the height. And then because it's double hung, you don't have to know anything else. Just say double hung and you're good to go. All right. Sean. Hey, Sean. I just wanted to say, he's just telling me, I got to third person. Weird. Say thank you. I wish I could give you a tour of my home, show you all the projects we accomplished by watching your videos. Yeah, you just start a YouTube channel, dude. And then go ahead and do a tour. I'd love to see it, you know? Like, you don't have to put anything on there except the tour of your home, you know? It's all good. But if you did that, then you could just send me a link. I would love to see that kind of stuff. That would be awesome. All right, Yinzer House. What's the rule of thumb on sistering rotted wood versus just replacing the whole thing? Can it hurt to leave portions of rotted in place if you build enough support with new wood? Okay. So rotted wood means it was exposed to an environment that allowed it to rot, which means excessive moisture. If you've solved the moisture issue and you're just laminating a new beam, you can. You don't have to tear the old one out. But depending where you live, rotted wood will attract termites. So it may not be a bad idea to get rid of it. At the same time, if you laminate that beam, you have to support that beam at each end independently of that rotted beam because the rot doesn't carry the load. So you don't have to cut it out, but you can't rely on that wood for adding structural strength. So you can't just glue and screw everything to the rotted wood, right? Does that make sense? Okay. Red guard and then LVP. Yeah, I get the idea. There is an adhesive you're going to need to use to put the LVP onto the wall in the bathroom. And then there is another product that you do as a surface roll-on to guarantee everything is waterproof. Because the plank is waterproof, but the joints aren't. Yeah, that's the thing about the vinyl waterproof means that the floor itself doesn't get damaged by water. But it doesn't mean it's not penetrable by water. So you've got to put a surface on it. And you also want to do that roll-on if you're using it on the floor, especially to make it an anti-slip. So, like I said, check out the MapHaze site. They got a demonstration there. So we got Sherry from MD. I'm thinking that's Maryland. Does that make sense? My geography? They've helped you so much. I'm glad to hear that, Sherry. Cheers. And Jeremy, welcome to Money in the Bank. And Crystal, welcome to Money in the Bank. And Steven, welcome to Money in the Bank. You know why we call it Money in the Bank? Can I just say? It's because when you DIY, let's break it down. 25% of the cost of what you would pay a contractor is materials. 25% is basically the labor that the people that did the work are getting. And the other 50% is a little bit of profit for the company, and the rest goes to the government in taxes of one form or another. Which is why you can't make money hiring a renovator. You only get 75% return on your investment. Now, over the last 18 months, that rule has probably changed, but as a rule of thumb over a long-term period, you can't make money renovating unless you do it yourself. Now, if you do it yourself, you still pay for the materials, but you get 75% of what the contractor would have brought value to your house. So that means you triple your money. Now, most people aren't investors, right? So the average homeowner can't say, oh, I'm an investor. I've got 10 grand. I'm playing in the stocks. No, you're just playing with your money. It's gambling. You're not an investor. If all you've got is your home, invest in yourself. Learn DIY skills. Do projects. Earn 300%. Nobody in the market can say that they can get you 300% return on the money that you put into a project in 30 days. There's nowhere else. And I'm not talking about gambling. I'm talking guaranteed. Just think about it. I don't know. Let that soak in. Tips for tightening up an old creaky hardwood floor before installing LVP over top. Well, if you don't care about the hardwood, then you can pre-drill into where the joist location is and screw nice and tight. That'll work. But if you're concerned about the hardwood, you basically got to remove the ceiling from underneath of it, and you got to glue and screw and laminate new 2x4s along every one of those floor joists, because old hardwood deflection pulls the nails, pulls the cleats. That's the only way you can fix it. So PL premium and screws into the existing joists, and then add the ceiling back when you're done. Cheers, Julian. And he's a member for 14 months. Look at that. Can you shoot brad nails through trim, drywall, and metal studs? Yes, yes, and yes. No problem whatsoever. Crystal saying the channel's helpful. I'm an angel. Oh, that's going a little far, Crystal. All right. Quick question. Do I need to add a support lip if I'm hanging drywall above my stairwell? Not sure what a support lip is. Generally, the screws do the job. If you're concerned about it, put 2 screws within an inch of each other everywhere where you're putting screws. Okay? And it carries 5 times the weight. All right? So, Crystal, that's all you really got to do. Don't worry about going overboard on any of that. Cheers, Kevin. Joining the Money in the Bank. We're looking forward to answering your question. Ashok. Patel. Nice. I had a Patel when I was growing up in school. Good guy. I think he's in real estate now. Hi, I noticed just yesterday my AC unit having ice on the pipes with low cooling. I assume it's because of a Freon leak. Is it possible to find it with a tool, and how can you fix a leak? Okay, first of all, you're talking about your lines going from the AC unit in the furnace to the outside. You have ice there. That's interesting. This is not a DIY moment. Okay, you really want to get your HVAC guy in there. Chances are you've got warranty on that product. Don't mess around with that. If you don't have the technology on the market for DIYers to A, repair, or B, to reload the supply line with Freon, okay, that is left alone for HVAC technicians. So you're screwed right out of the gate. Okay, don't get creative. Just call somebody for help. Save yourself the time and energy. It's just going to be a couple $100 fix. They can come in and source that out. If your ice is in the furnace, it could be because your furnace is dirty and the filter needs to be changed. So then what you got to do is you got to switch it to heat to melt all the ice, change the furnace, and then run it again. All right? Because if your filter is dirty, you're not allowing enough air to blow through, then all that cold air just sits there and it turns to ice, especially in humid climates. Okay? And so that's what happens there. Next, Misfit Mel. Hey, how do you remove tiles? Splashback, because Aussies don't call it a backsplash, they call it a splashback. I've learned this over time. From Gyp Rock without destroying it and having to replace it. Not easy, depending on what they use to apply it. If they use an adhesive, you can basically chisel it off. Okay, you can get lucky, and you're going to end up peeling a lot of the drywall paper, and you're going to be left with the brown surface paper. If that happens, then you can paint the brown surface paper with an oil-based primer, and then you can tile over top of that. Okay, but if you remove the white and the brown paper and you have the gypsum in behind, now you've got to add paper, and it's just a mess. It's not worth the effort. So give it a try. If it doesn't work, just cut out the drywall, all right, just shy of your new tile area, and then replace a brand new piece of drywall just in that one little section. So you can take off the tile on the edges, maybe the bottom row and the top row, and then you can just cut the drywall and pop the rest off. Sometimes that's just a lot easier. All right. It's only drywall, and you can do a whole kitchen probably for like $15-20. Think about it. It's not that big a deal. Okay, so Chris from Orlando. Okay, so I got totally lost there. Wow, I'm moving slow, aren't I? Go a little higher. Okay, yeah, I'll hurry up, Matt. Sorry. You got several areas that look like drywall tape flashing through the original paint on walls and ceilings. Yeah. Sometimes that can be humidity, right? Like that's just the way that works. If you got too much humidity, the tape will actually lift off the drywall. It's not bonded anymore. A lot of new construction, they use all those machines, right? And so they don't actually embed the tape in the mud. They just set it in the mud. And so you get a little bit of humidity in the house, and you're done. So it just all peels off. And it's a crying shame. Because it's a really, can I just say it? It's a piss poor technique. But the whole world is using these machines because, man, they're fast and they get the job done. Yeah, the tape's failing. Best thing to do is make sure your air conditioning is working. It's not just cold, but it's drying your air. Check your humidity. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. You don't need to oil-based prime it. You can just, if you have regular latex paint on your surface, you're fine. If the house is older, you might have to oil-based prime it. And while we're here, I'm going to just a public service announcement. If your house is older than 1974, you have plaster, lath, or oil paint technology, it's not compatible with latex paint. You've got to use a transition primer. That crap they sell, paint and primer in one, does not work. Okay? It's marketing because they told everybody to prime, and now they're telling you all to buy paint with primer in it, and it has zero value to you. So the only times you got a primer with brand new drywall or transition from oil to latex products, which is a different product, or if you have a super dark color and you want to put a primer on because primer is only 15 to 20 bucks a gallon, and it's cheaper to paint a room with a shot of black in it, light gray, and you can transition to a new color. Okay? The paint and primer in one has no value in any application ever. Stop paying for that marketing. It's garbage. Okay, Sundar. In my bathroom, between the bathroom door frame and the metal and the wall, there is a gap about 1 centimeter. Yep. Fill the gap in joint filler backer rod. What is the best way to caulk over it? Okay. Oh, you've got the metal frames. Yeah. You know, that's funny because there was a time in Ottawa when they were building, and they did a lot of like late 60s, early 70s. They were experimenting with metal frames, just like in commercial construction. And it's like a big U channel, right? And so they stick it up and the metal on the inside, outside. And so the drywall sometimes would fit, sometimes wouldn't. The best way to fix that, honestly, is throw a little tape on the wall. I hate to say it. And then put in the caulking, then use a drywall knife and then scrape it and get a nice straight edge. Scrape off all the extra, get rid of it. And you can fill that gap up. And then you can usually have to do it twice because it'll shrink a little bit when it dries if it's a big space. Okay, and that'll be good. Michael, or should I say Michelle, regarding your basement insulation system, dry core with XPS, airspace, moisture, yeah, would insulate in the rim joist, prevent moisture from exiting? No, it does not. Great question, though. But the point is that airspace that's up behind the wall comes in contact with the floor joists. And those joists, believe it or not, are going to transfer enough water that you can insulate your rim joists and you're not going to have to worry about it. Okay? Because the floor joists themselves come in contact with the rim joist, and that rim joist is on the other side of your insulation. So there's a migration that happens there, so you're going to be just fine. But appreciate you thinking it through. Okay. Is it cost effective to build a new fence now? Wood is cheaper, but still seems expensive. It's not coming down. Maybe we should do a video on this. Okay. Whatever you see in the cost of building materials, it's not going anywhere. Canadian government just came out the other day and said that we built 100,000 homes last year. Yay. The goal is 150 for the next 10 years. So we still don't have enough labor to build the homes fast enough. We also don't have enough labor to cut down the trees fast enough. We also don't have enough labor to work in the mills, and it ain't coming down. So yes, is it cost effective? Because the value of your house is now 50% more than it was 2 years ago. All right. I know that we all didn't get a 50% raise in the last 18 months, but if you're looking for money to renovate, consider borrowing against the equity because you're making 300%. Or consider taking your skills that you got and do a little gig economy. Work for people on the side. 3 Saturdays, boom, put together a few $1,000 and then go do a project. Right? That's another way to do it. Because you can make 3, work 1, and turn it into 9. Yeah, that's what 300% does. That's the power of working 3 Saturdays and then do 1 day for yourself. Can I move up a little bit? Because that's Miss Tina. Miss Tina has been a member since, wow, forever. You wish we were in Florida. Coming soon. Young couple purchased a house they thought was good but wasn't. Now practically rebuilding the whole house. Probably should have been torn down. Now, you know what? My farmhouse probably should have been torn down. That was on the edge. That was pretty close, but we rebuilt it from scratch. I get it. Lots of people bought a house in the last couple of years that was totally lipstick on a pig. There's going to be a lot of folks in that business because it's like, well, you can't get a house if you don't, no conditions, right? As is, no condition offers. That was just, what a mess. That should be illegal. Crystal says, it's in what I believe called the bulkhead, not slope. It's straight up and down, 13 feet straight up. Crystal, Lord, the question is reoccurring. Crystal, ask your question again, please. I missed the main part of your question. I have no idea what's going on. But I do go up a little bit. I got a super chat here from GTG Highlights. How come you haven't made any videos installing fiber cement siding like James Hardy or Allura? Well, there are a lot of people out there that did those products and they were paid to do it. And so I don't see the need to do it again. Generally speaking, when it comes to siding, I find vinyl to be perfectly acceptable and rather affordable. I don't live in a zone where we get fires. So I don't have a preference to overindulge and invest in extra money. And generally speaking, we don't take sponsorships from these companies to make products. So that's why. That's all it is. It's just not practical where I am. Now, if you live out in the West Coast, North or South Canada, USA, yeah, you might want to have some fire rating on your house. But we just don't have need of it here. And that might change. But for now, there's nothing. Jason, welcome to Money in the Bank. And wow, a whole lot of code. Welcome to Money in the Bank. We'll call you A. All right, Maddie, let's roll it up, buddy. And that's all. It's not because I don't like the product. It's just not necessarily where I live. It's like, if all I need is a Chevy to get to work, I'm not going to do a video talking about how wonderful Jaguars are, even though I really want a Jag one day. But that's way down the road. That's way down the road. That's after I get my yacht. Which will never happen. Nobody gets rich giving information out for free, Maddie. Nope, not going to happen. All right. Jason has a super chat here. Hey, Jeff, got vinyl waterproofing sheets in my basement and want to update. Okay. Do I need to remove these before adding a membrane or can cover over? What is a vinyl waterproofing sheet? And what kind of membrane are you looking to add? Jason, Phil, wow, dude. I'm going to need more information. I have no idea what a vinyl waterproofing sheet is. If you have a waterproofing system, you can't cover it with another waterproofing system. I'll tell you that much, or you will get moisture buildup. Okay. There'll be condensation in between the two layers. That's the trouble. Can I just go up a little bit? Clarissa, welcome to Money in the Bank. And Steven, welcome. Congratulations, guys. Looking forward to seeing your questions. Yinzer House, re-ask. Structural engineer says he doesn't like basement French drains with stone foundations, but rather gravel sump instead. Difference of opinion. Many do it, but I like to trust the experts. Okay. I get it, right? The stone foundation, he's not wrong. If you got a stone foundation, you want to do a French drain, you've got to realize that the load transfer, when it hits the ground, goes on an angle, 45 degrees. And if the stone is 8 inches wide, you can't have that French drain with it within 10 to 12 inches of your stone wall. So you're going to lose a whole foot or more of your interior wall space. That's really what he's saying. You can't put it right up against the foundation. It's not like a footing or a form footing, okay? So that's what's going on there. Because it's just laying on the dirt. So in other houses, we have footings beneath our floor, but in stone houses, we don't. So that's what he's trying to say. So if you wanted to go with a French drain inside, you're going to lose a foot all around the perimeter. What he's saying is, dig a deep hole, put in gravel and a sump pump. Many do it, but I like to trust. Yeah, many do it, right? And in a lot of cases, you're fine. But in a lot of cases, the walls collapse. So, is that something you really want to risk on renovating a space in the house that doesn't even have much return on investment? That's up for you to decide, I guess. Chelsea, we have a beam 2x12s put it together. Good. Steel plate that attaches the telepost overhangs the beam 1.5. Good. Can this be cut flush so we can build a wall under the beam? Oh. Whoa. I'm going to say this as a rule, no. Now, if you get an engineer in, he can give you permission. He can give you a process. But those plates have to be fastened to the steel. And just shoving a nail and bending it over isn't going to cut it, okay? So the minute you start touching structure, you need to have structural advice. Now, if you're going to be having a beam in a room, having it framed out so it's another 1.5 inches wider, it's not going to change the world, but affecting your structural capacity there may in the event of seismic activity. So I can't in good conscience say, yeah, just go ahead and cut it off. Even though it sounds like good, just grab a grinder, but no, I wouldn't do it. Okay. All right, Chelsea. Doesn't like the pipes. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
It just auto populates down the bottom sometimes. So.
Oh, does it really? Okay, so where are we? Sandy Rose is in the house. Hey. All right, 1965 Texas. Previous owner installed siding 10 plus years ago. Once you go siding, can you go back? Or is this now the forever look? No, siding is just hung on the wall. You can tear it all off and do a brand new facade if you want to. Or you can do like a stone up to the bottom of the windows and put in stone sill. And you can cap it and you can go half stone, half siding. You know, there's no rule. Siding is simply a facade that's added over top of a weatherproofing system. And so you can take it off and reinstall whatever you like. So feel free, you know, dream big. All right. Stephen, you forgot to mention you live in Michigan-Ohio border concerning the attic space. I missed the attic question, Stephen, so ask it again. Darley, but basically if you're there and you were talking about your attic, you need to turn that into a conditioned space in your home. So your best bet is spray foam because it's the only system that'll work without, 1900 balloon frame. No, go spray foam. I know it's more expensive, but there's so much science behind why you need to do it. You just need to do it. Okay? It's not even worth discussing. You're just going to be disappointed otherwise. Okay? Moving on. All right. David Miller. Advice on shoring up, we'll call it, a sagging barn door top rails. Yeah, if the hardware is getting weak because of time, you just got to install new hardware. If your frame is what's going to, behind that is starting to sag, then take a look at taking off your hardware and doubling up that member, glue it and screw it, and then reinstall your hardware again. It might not be strong enough to handle that load over time and it starts to sag. And wow, I love that. I have no idea how to say your name, but welcome to Money in the Bank. AGNARKB. You're just messing with me? What? That's awesome. You type that in phonetically. I'd love to know. All right. Dr. Dilettante, 1965 house has 1/4 inch drywall covered with wallpaper, covered with wood paneling, covered with texture lap. Yeah, that's not uncommon. Yeah, just rip all that crap out and start over again because it's 1965, which means you got to rewire your house anyway. Jamal King, member for 7 months. I skipped you. Sorry, dude. What video should I watch to get started on building my tiny home? Please help. You're my hero. All depends where you plan on living. I don't do a lot of tiny home stuff, but if you're looking to live tiny, I would watch all of my shed videos, to be honest with you. Like, really, I don't think there's even any rules for tiny houses, are there? Do we have code for that yet? Have you ever heard of any of that? I have no idea. I would watch my kitchen video from the farmhouse. Okay. And a lot of that is the same on different scale. Okay. And if you can follow the whole kitchen build, then you'll be fine. All right. Billy Ray is here. Michael, replacing squeaky and uneven old plank subfloor with tongue and groove ply while removing the old plank subfloor. How close or far from the wall should I remove it? Let me try that again. Replacing squeaky old plank subfloor with TNG. Oh, yeah. Oh, I got it. Here's the thing. Old tongue and groove subfloor usually is solid wood. It's not plywood. In a lot of cases, it's carrying the load of the interior walls. Not load bearing, but it's carrying the load of the interior wall. So you start cutting it out and your interior walls are just floating. So you want to know how far you should replace it. What I do is I like to cut close and then I put in some extra additional support from underneath. So I'll throw in some 2x4 blocking and then I'll come back with a reciprocator saw or a multi-tool and then they'll trim it off after that and leave the original underneath the plate. but have the plate supported at both ends, or every 2 feet or so. It takes time like that, but it works. Okay, where are we here? Karen, if I put a second layer of a tile for my shower surround, how do I adjust the depth of the faucet? Yeah, okay, Karen, it all depends. If your shower faucet has a valve body, it's usually screwed to a piece of wood. If you take the cover plate off, get a flashlight, if you back those 2 screws up, you can then grab the handle, see if there's flexibility. If the 2 water lines are coming directly from underneath, you'll have lots of flexibility. And all you do is you can back out those screws a half an inch or whatever to get the space that you need. And then you can put the cover plate on with those really long 3-inch screws afterwards, and it'll still connect just fine. But make sure that you can reconnect that system at the depth that you want before you start your tiling. Okay? Make sure you got that flexibility. If there's copper lines and they're drilled through the wall, you won't have any flexibility at all. So you'll have to open it up from the backside at least. That's the downside. But most shower valves have about a 2.5-inch variance from front to back and are installed somewhere in the middle. So in most cases, you can make that adjustment just with the cover plate and put the cover plate back on at a new surface. You should be fine. You don't even have to move the valve. So double check on that. Okay, Roses and Tea. How do you prep to install IKEA kitchen and cabinet lighting? Does there have to be outlets, or does an electrician have to wire something, or are they battery operated? I'm not sure about the IKEA system. A lot of cases, these are low voltage LED, what we call, oh my goodness, what do we call them? Oh, I'm feeling brain stumped.
What are you talking about?
Okay, so under kitchen cabinet lighting, basically you'll have a box and you can run the wires in the cabinets, okay, over to the next location and down, and then you put in a fake back in the cabinet to hide all your wiring. All right, so you'll have like a transformer, all right, and then you'll have this harness that goes with the next part. They should have something on their website for how to do that, though, because basically it's all low voltage. So you do need to have at least a 14-2 power supply in the back of one cabinet. All right, that has to be added, and then you can plug in the transformer, run all your wiring from there. Okay, and that's really how it's done. And basically, yeah. That's the gig. So you can either fish it through the wall if it's a hollow wall, or you can run it through the cabinets and just you get the same material and you can make fake back cabinets. Okay. Or you can run it down and then run it along the bottom underside of the cabinet and out of valance so you can hide all the wires. And that works to a certain degree, but if you have a big open concept and you sit in the living room, you look up, you can see all the wiring. So it can be a little ugly, but do what you can do. Angelo wants to install a hoist for a storage lift using Unistrut on the ceiling of the garage. Will the ceiling joist support the weight of the hoist? Okay. That, my friend, is something you're going to have to send me a picture for. All right? But I'll tell you a secret. If your joists are not at least 2x8, they're not designed to be structural load. They're probably just part of a truss. 2x4 or 2x6 tops. But if you don't have at least 2x8, and that 2x8 is traveling more than 12 feet, it's not designed to carry load. All right. So 6,000 pounds. Yeah, I'm going to guarantee you at 6,000 pounds, you're going to need to put in a beam, and you're going to need to put load bearing capacity in your walls to carry that beam. All right. Nobody builds a house with the roof capable of carrying that kind of equipment. So just forget that right now. Yeah. All right. GTG, welcome to Money in the Bank. All right. Okay, we're past this now. I did that one already. Let's just start here. Do you have go start anywhere? Again, if I miss you, just jump in again. Do you have a good video or something on how to install a whole house dehumidifier? Very humid climate. Should I install it in the same ductwork for the air conditioning? Okay, so generally speaking, Ron, the air conditioning is the dehumidification as well. If that's not enough, you have more than a humid climate. You've got a serious moisture issue coming through your foundation. So you're going to want to put some really good dehumidification in the basement, and consider putting in some vapor membrane in your basement to stop the transfer through your walls. I'd love to know how old your house is and where you live before I give you any more information. but a whole house dehumidifier is not necessary if you have air conditioning, unless you've got an old house with poor technology and the soil conditions allow a lot of moisture to come into that home. That can be tough. Okay, Paul has an attic with knob and tube. Can I put down insulation and joists with no wires? In other words, lay down insulation around the knob. Okay, so first of all, Paul, you got knob and tube wiring. Okay. You might as well strap yourself to a bucking horse. Okay, like you're taking such a huge risk leaving it. Get rid of it. What does it take to rewire the house? A couple $1,000? It's not worth it. Knob and tube wiring kills. All right, period. All it takes is one bloody mouse to go, what's that? And he catches fire. You're done. Like your house is going up like a tinder. They didn't do knob and tube except for over 100 years ago, which means your framing is dry, dude. Think about it. It's not worth it. It's not acceptable. It's not safe. It's crazy, right? Can I have a show of hands? How many people would drive in the sidecar of a motorcycle on the highway back and forth to work every day of your life? That's the kind of risk you're taking right there. Insane. No offense to everybody who rides in a sidecar. All right. What type of insulation should I use in a small bathroom in Victoria, BC? Had to take it old as it got moldy. House was built in the 70s. Nah. If everybody assumes that when insulation goes dark, it's mold, but it's just dirt. It's called air movement. In the 70s, we didn't air seal. Where are you going, dude?
It just auto-populates down to the bottom, so I have to continuously go back up to the top where you were.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so we're having issues over here with the questions. If you have a house in the 70s and you take off your wall and your insulation is dirty, it's just dirty. Okay, it's dirt. It's not mold. Fiberglass is not organic. It won't go moldy. It takes an incredible amount of mold before the fiberglass is moldy. And if the fiberglass is moldy, all of your framing is so proliferated in mold, you had to have professionals come in and remediate your home. If that's the case, you still need to air seal your house. Because in the 70s, we didn't air seal. A lot of times, they didn't even use Tyvek on the outside of the house before they put the siding on, the aluminum siding. Okay? So it's just air blowing through. Everything's just air blowing through. So whatever that, I can't even read that question now. It's lost. The best bet is you're in BC. So you don't have winter. You aren't using plastic. You want to air seal your house. If it's an old 70s home, take a look at changing the facade. Get rid of the aluminum siding. Add some Tyvek. Tape it. Seal it shut. Okay, that'll give you a good air seal. And then you can add new siding. Perhaps maybe even that fire-rated stuff from James Hardy. You never know out in the coast. But that's your problem. It's not a mold issue. Okay, so at least you can relax knowing it's dirt, not mold. And you can always send me a picture in the forum if you're not sure and you want me to double check. But for every time I've said someone say, well, I've got moldy insulation, there was only one in like about 500 situations that they were correct. So it's most likely just dirt. Yeah, cheers. All right, Julian, let's do this. Jeff, whoa. Jeff, if you're adding decorative trim, craftsman style, on a closet entrance, do you run the left and right trim straight to the floor like a door frame or stop at the baseboard? You got two options. You can run it right to the floor. Or if your baseboard is super thick as well, you can use what's called a plinth block. And it's an actual 1-inch thick piece of rectangular wood that the casing comes down to and the baseboard comes over. And that will mimic the old craftsman style just perfectly. If you don't have a supplier that has plinth block, because they won't carry that at Home Depot, just look up other trim suppliers in town or wood stores. It's not abnormal. Okay, you can go plinth block. Where can I buy plinth block in your town? Google search or whatever. You'll find a spot sooner or later. Make a couple quick calls. There's always a company in town. Like in Ottawa, we have Wood Source. If you need anything made of wood, I mean, you can almost buy a wood car there. They got everything, right? So if it's wood, you'll get it there. Cheers to Wood Source. Okay, so back to Australia. Is there an easy way of determining if a ground floor wall is load bearing? Or do we need an engineer to determine if it can be removed? Okay, interior walls. Is there an easy way to determining if it's load bearing? No. There's a lot of rules that are like, yeah, chances are, right? Or you're most likely. But no, there's no easy way. If you want to send me pictures, and Tell me if you have roof that has truss. Is it a truss roof? What's the dimension of your home? Send me pictures of your floor plan. Then it's easy to identify. Okay. But I need to see your roof line as well, because depending on your roof line depends how the truss is run. And there's a lot of things going on. And if you're not sure, you're not sure. At the end of the day, get the structural engineer out if you want to have a look. Because he can tell you if it moves out without a problem, and then he leaves. Because he doesn't care about non-load bearing interior walls. And if it is load bearing, he can give you a plan and a strategy and drawings and a stamp to go with it, and you can do it yourself. Whew. Yeah, I do get confused by my advanced age with all this activity. Thanks, Jason. Cheers, man. If you have experience, are poured concrete countertops worth the time and effort? Costs for quartz, granite are going up, but with all the tools and hassle, concrete seems just as much. Okay, so we did concrete countertops, man, 6 years ago, and I sucked at it. They now have much better product as far as the concrete mix available. It's, to the best of my knowledge, it's just not food safe. So the one I did was food safe, and it was pain in the butt to work with. The pretty versions of this material aren't food safe, but you can make countertops out of it. You just got to use cutting boards. You can't just use a knife on it. Okay, and so that was the point. The particular client wanted food safe, and I wasn't going to put something in there that could eventually kill her kid. So I went with food safe. You don't have to if you just want pretty. Use cutting boards, you're fine. They make white concrete countertops now. There's more than one company out there making the molds. There's lots of options. Feel free to jump in. At the end of the day, like, costs for quartz and granite are going up. Blah, 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 blah. So is the value of your house, right? We've made a major adjustment. Prices aren't going anywhere. This isn't temporary. I'm thinking a good 10 to 15 years before the prices start coming back down. And that's just because we need people to immigrate into North America because we don't have enough folks around anymore. Everybody retired. They're done. Baby boomers are saying, the hell with it. I'm retiring. I'm rich. I'm out. No, not every baby boomer is rich, but enough of them are, and they're done. Okay? So, big surprise. And until they die, they're going to live in their house. Or they have to be institutionalized. But that's a good 15 years from now. So they're taking up space. You know what I mean? It's not a bad thing. It's just that they're living in the house. So until they remove themselves from that situation of home ownership, we don't have enough room to bring in a new labor force to replace them as the labor force. So we are not going to see anything change. And might I even add here real quick while I'm at it, if you own a house right now, okay, you should have it as a goal to be mortgage-free within 10 years. Because I can't guarantee what this world's going to look like in 10 years from now. And if you're not mortgage-free, I'm thinking you might be in a little bit of trouble. You don't want to be extended in 10 years. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I know when 25% of the population sells their house and we've replaced them as labor force and we've built all this place for them already, now we're going to have more homes than people. And we won't need more people. So then the house valuation will definitely bubble out. There's no housing bubble now. It'd be 10, 15 years from now. So my plan is be debt-free in 10 years. Make it a goal. Work weekends if you have to. Double down on your mortgage payments, but get it done. Next. That's a video all on its own. Should have maybe saved that. Okay, Christina has a Nebraska 1981 home. Basement paneling, molded. Okay, removed it all, added a great dehumidifier. What can I use to seal the wall and floor to prevent this? Oh. Okay, it's not about sealing the walls and the floor, Christina. It's about putting in materials that aren't going to mold. And honestly, you need a subfloor. As soon as you put in a subfloor, it changes everything, right? We have a video I just did recently. It's a subfloor and wall assembly in a 1981 home, subfloor with a proper wall assembly. All of the air moves under the floor, moves up the back wall, and then all that extra humidity is released. And if it gets too humid, more moisture doesn't come into the environment. It slows the whole process down of moisture coming into the house. And it'll actually work really well for you. You'll be surprised. The best plan is actually to trench your house and waterproof the foundation. But in most people, that's not in the budget right now. That's 20, 25 grand. maybe more, because that's wow, that's a couple years ago, that price. God only knows what they're charging now. A long day with a shovel doing it yourself, by the way. Jason, any advice for building totally new rooms? First time framer, but it seems doable enough. Any pro tips or beginner mistakes to look out for? Yeah. If you're building a new room, it means it's not structural. It's not carrying any weight, which means build all your walls a little shorter than you need them to, so you can move them in position, and then glue and screw shims and screw into the existing framing to put your walls in place. Level and square, grab a laser level, grab a 6-foot level. And other than that, make sure all your doors are 2 inches wider and 2 inches taller than the door itself that you're going to hang. Okay. Make sure there's wood everywhere where you're going to want to screw drywall. That's about it. But I do have a video of basement finishing. We framed a basement. So go to the website. Go to YouTube, go to our page, search in basement framing. And there should be a couple of options that pop up. Cheers, Matthew. Welcome to Money in the Bank. He waves at me. That's funny. All right. Okay. I'm not sure where in Florida. I found them on YouTube a few months ago. They probably couldn't afford a membership. Sadly, they're putting their whole savings into this house. Ouch. Ouch. Yeah, if I was them, I would not do that. Ouch. Okay. That's sad. Sorry, Tina. Thank you. I'm glad it's not you. That hurts. Okay. Stephen, hello. Need help on replacing a leaking rectangular shower with a one-wall surround, 2 fixed glass sides, and a pivoting glass door. Need the best store to buy new shower. Thanks. Okay. Well, I don't know how to answer that. You want to get rid of a shower that has a wall panel and then 2 glass panels, and the best store to buy a new shower. Steven, here's the deal. There's nothing wrong with your glass. Uninstall the glass panels. Get rid of your one wall surround, waterproof it, and tile it, and then put the glass back. Make it look brand new. You don't need to change everything. If you have a shower pan, leave it. It's your friend. Okay? That's what I would do. I've done this before. You just take the glass. You can uninstall glass. You can cut the silicone. You can uninstall it. You can set it aside. You can tile the shower again and then reinstall the glass again. It's not that hard. It's just silicone, and then you tape everything together until the silicone dries, for the most part. That's how the glass guys do it. And after I saw them do 1 or 2 of those showers, I was just like, well, if it's that bloody easy, why am I paying a fortune for that? I can do that myself. Okay, where am I here, buddy? I'm Clarissa. Old owners had gutters installed, but they tucked the shingles behind the gutters. God, can we simply untuck them? You know what? Yeah, you probably could. If you were to just back out the screw that holds the gutter, maybe it's nails, and lift it all out and then put it back in, you're great. If you can't, trim the shingle and put a piece of like 2 or 3 inch aluminum underneath the shingle so that it extends into the gutter and redirect the water. Okay. That's maddening lazy, eh? Somebody actually put the shingles in behind. God. Yeah, whoever did that. Enjoy the fiery furnace of eternity. All right, so next, chocolate. Chocolate's here. Cheers. Good to see you. Crystal said he added a dishwasher to my kitchen. It's on the end and exposed. What's your best solution to enclose it? Is there a kit for that? No, but there is what we call a gable panel. All right. Usually it comes like 5/8 or 3/4, and you just get a couple of little L brackets, and you attach the L brackets to the panel. You put the panel in place, and then you screw those L brackets top and bottom. You might need to pull the dishwasher out to access the ones in the back, but that's really all we do. So there you go. You can even buy those at IKEA, even if it's not an IKEA kitchen. Or if you bought one at wherever you bought your kitchen cabinets, you can get them. Or you can buy a 3/4 inch plywood good one side, and you can make your own panel and paint it if you need to. All right. There we go. Yeah, Matthew was just saying thanks. Videos give them courage to start and make some mistakes. You know what? Mistakes make you better. And the best thing about DIY is you can afford to make them and then you can fix them up. And even the pros make mistakes on a regular basis, so no big deal. Yeah. Got it. Okay. Any tips for fishing through a ceiling under a flat roof so no attic? Can't see into the space. Oh, did it disappear again? Oh, that is maddening, isn't it? All right. Yeah, I got some tips for fishing through a ceiling under a flat roof. No attic. No attic? Like at all? Not even 6 inches? Here's the best solution for that. If you can't fish through a ceiling, here's your best option. Ready? Strap the ceiling, install all your lights and wiring, and then add a new drywall on top. It's only drywall, and it's a lot easier than farting around if you can't find a way to get it done. Cheers, John. Welcome to Money in the Bank. For the amount of times that people will spend hours and hours and hours trying to avoid touching drywall, it blows my mind. It is so simple to use drywall. Watch the videos. Try it. You'll love it. I do. Helgi says you started siding and now have to tear the old 70s particle sheathing off a 30-year porch edition. Yeah, good news. It sits on a concrete slab, but the sill plate is rotted. Of course it is, because they never put a vapor barrier underneath that wood. So when you replace your slab, put in a vapor barrier between your wood and your concrete. It's as simple as a thick piece of plastic, and it'll buy you another 30 years. It's amazing how 19 cents can cost you thousands of dollars 30 years later. Blows your mind. Okay, Don, how wide can deck steps be with only 2 sides? What? How wide can a deck step be with only 2 sides? First of all, Don, there is no limit to how wide a deck step can be. It can be the entire perimeter. So I'm not sure what 2 sides means. Maybe we can reformulate that question if that didn't help. But there's no limit to how wide the step can be. It's just there's limitations to how high the rise can be. Okay. Yeah, like I'm thinking if it's the width, there's no limit to that. I've seen people, they have like a 500 square foot patio and they've got it on an angle and it's 8 steps and they got like $45,000 worth of wood making it downstairs and it wraps the entire home, right? It's just incredible. What are my thoughts on plastic 2x4s? As a sill plate. Plastic, they actually sell sill gasket. It's a plastic roll. It's about 8 inches wide. And it's, I think about $8 for about 250 linear feet. And it works great. So I wouldn't spend my money on a solution like that. A sheet of plastic that's 3 millimeters thick stops the transfer moisture from the concrete to the wood. That's all you need. Don't overthink it. It's not that tricky. It's just the other people never used it. And so then they had the wicking. All right. Isn't knob and tube unlawful now? Yeah, right? Like, I'm surprised that you live in a place where they haven't already knocked on your door and given you a work order. Okay. Again, with the beam. The wall on that beam will be my utility room. Can I use the beam as the header for my doors to the utility room? 85 inches to the ground, so not much room to build a header. Yeah. Our code here is 78 inches of clearance from the floor to the top of anything. And that is so that the fire department know that they can walk through without banging their heads. That's really all it is. Because that means a 6-foot person with a helmet can still clear the door. And if they're a little taller than that, once in a while, they'll bump the top of their helmet, but that's not going to hurt them. They just don't want us building below that. It's fire safety, and it's for their safety, not ours. John says, is Go Board a good product? Curdy board is not available, and I am short on the timeline. Curdy board is hitting the shelves again, my friend. Not sure what it's like where you live, but yes, Go Board is a good product. I was down at the trade show in February, and they had the demonstration down there. If you have a place where you can get it, I don't even know where to buy it where I live. I would love to hear. Somebody let me know where to buy Curdy board or the Go Board. I want to give it a try. But the installation was pretty straightforward. It's basically a fiber cement board that's been treated so it's waterproof. It works out fine. So yeah, feel free. If you want to use it, go right ahead. Nothing wrong with it at all. just make sure that you follow their installation processes and don't get creative and mix technologies. Okay, that's where people run into trouble. So bummed you can't register for the forum. Jay Flywheel, I don't know why that would be possible, but make sure you. What is their email for the forum?
It's already in the.
Michelle, put that in there. Good stuff. Thanks, baby. Where am I? What is the best way to buy an HVAC system for the best price? I just got quoted 28,000 USD, not paying that. That's a great question. What I would do if I was you, John, is I would pull out my Google Maps and I would populate where the HVAC wholesalers are in your city. Okay, there's usually a commercial district where you got 2 or 3 different suppliers, and then I want you to go over there and then you check out where the restaurants in that same neighborhood are, and then you go down there for lunch. Okay, and then you start asking the guys that are down there for lunch at the bar, hey, any of you guys in the business? What's the deal? And you know, buy someone a beer, and it'll save you 10 grand. Listen, you know, right now we're in economy. If you don't have a friend, you're out of luck. So go make some friends. That's about the best advice that I got. Because listen, people are charging you what their product is worth in your new valuation of your home. It has nothing to do with affordability. They don't have enough workers either. So if they're only going to do half the business, they're going to only deal with people who can afford their top dollar. That's all there is to it. I got B-Rad. I got my guy. Right? Everybody needs a good gas guy. Just find one and then start adding them to your Christmas list so that when you run into trouble, you got a good gas guy. All right. Tested for mold. Mold was on wood frame, right? Meter for checking dampness before I shut up the wall. First time here. Sorry for questions. Okay. So if you got mold on your frame, of course there's mold on your frame. If you just go, is there mold or not? It'll always come back yes. The day they cut the tree down, the tree was full of mold. Came out of the dirt. So there's going to be mold. How much mold is the question? Is it within acceptable levels? Was it proliferating? Was it sporing? Okay. If you're not sure, you can go talk to an environmental engineer. I don't like bringing them in my house, though. They're a little fanatic. Those guys, they make me nervous because they really want everything just tickety-boo, you know, before they let you go build. Here's the deal. There's no fuzzy stuff on your wood. Don't worry about it. Go grab yourself some, what's that mold stuff from Home Depot? Yeah, it comes in a squeeze bottle there. Do you remember what that was called? Anyway, Home Depot sells it. It's a little little Windex silicone bottle, white. It's got mold killer on it. Go use that. Spray down your mold. Throw a fan on it. Give it a couple of days. You'll be fine. Even if you have mold and you clean it, if you haven't identified the water source that's making the mold grow, you can close your wall after you've killed it all and it'll come right back again because you're not going to kill it all. So you're done either way. So if you don't know where the water's coming from that's making the mold grow, that's your problem. You got to focus your energy on that. Someone can probably answer this besides Jeff. If I'm drilling screws into a wall to hold curtain rods or other heavier fixtures, do I need to drill the screws into the studs or avoid them? Definitely would, Michael, or it'll come toppling down. Tom, welcome to the membership. 7 Heroes fan, welcome to the membership. That took energy. Why did that take energy? All right. Well, give me a question. Let's go. What are we doing here? 10 after 6. Not bad. Okay. Oh, we had a question. Now we're going to find it. And there it is. Michael. Jeff, I'm planning on selling my condo with 1.5 bathrooms. Do you think getting rid of the tub and building a standing shower will have more value? What other renos should I focus on? Thanks. Okay, so here's the deal. First of all, it's a condo. So if you're going to do any work there, you've got to use a licensed plumber and you got to talk to the condo people because they have rules. And if you break those rules and you do work and you cause a flood, you're personally liable. Your house insurance isn't going to cover you. So know that. Second, it's a 1.5 bath, which means you got 1 bathroom and then somewhere for guests to pee, right? That's what you got. If it's 1 bedroom, don't touch a thing. If it's a 2-bedroom, consider the idea of a tub because 2 bedrooms means the potential for kids. And condos are where young families are starting nowadays. And so you could increase your value if you added a tub. But I'm thinking that getting rid of the tub and just having a standing shower depends where your condo is. Like if it's a 1-bedroom, yeah, definitely sexy, right? Make it modern. But at the same time, right now, investing in a bathroom renovation just to sell, probably not the right time. The market's not that hot, and there's not going to be much difference between the value of one versus the other. How many people are selling the condos in your building? What's your competition look like? That's a bigger question because real estate is regional. It can be street to street. So you got to find out who else is selling in your neighborhood, and did they all convert and put in a stand-up shower, and how much is that going to hurt you? Right? This is a conversation to have with a real estate agent, Michael, honestly. But getting rid of the tub, tubs work. If you've got something that works, why put money into it? You may not see it back. Not a big fan. I prefer having a tub. Besides, half the market out there is going to want to have a tub regardless. Right? Ladies love to soak. It's not in the top of our mind, but I know my wife loves a tub. You know, why reduce the amount of people that are going to be wanting to buy there? Right? Okay, if you had a second full bathroom, definitely make one of them a walk-in shower. All right. Okay, where are we here? Benson, do I need house wrap on an existing window replacement? Saw your video about blueskin. Should run the blueskin sides, top, in addition to bottom. All right, so here's the deal. When we're using these products, we're using the idea that your vinyl siding, when it's windy, the water gets in behind it. And depending on where you live and how much rain you get in a year, that may be more water than your building can shed and deal with and dry out after again, okay? Like some places in the world, they get monsoon season. We don't really have that in North America, but we do have rainy season for some regions, like considerable. So if you're in a real dry area, who gives a rip? If you're going to get a fair amount of rain, you can Google search. I think 20 inches? 20 inches of rain a year is kind of like anything below that is a pretty dry climate. You don't have to worry too much about it. If you blue skin your windowsill, that's generally enough because that's where water sits, especially in that bottom, right? And then it comes in and it cracks the drywall. It's a mess. But if you're more than that, then you might want to have more waterproofing involved, but you can't do that without taking the siding off. So it's a whole facade change. And there are millions of homes that need the whole facade changed, right? That are slowly rotting out and allowing termites to come in and like all this damage that happens because you can't keep it dry. That's just the way it is. And if you don't want to change your facade, consider making sure you don't have like large plants with like branches up against the house because that moisture transfer is constant and it keeps introducing moisture back into the home. So keep it as dry around the house as you can if you can't change that. I'm really ranting about siding facade. Okay, any advice to make a bathtub frame to update my bathroom without buying a new bathtub? Wow. Okay, so you might have like a drop-in tub. You can tile right over top of it, if that helps. Advice to make a bathtub frame? I think that's what you're saying. No, you don't have to buy a new tub. You can even have a paint tub, and you can have somebody come in, and they'll clean it, and then they'll paint it with a special painting system and painting products you can't get as a homeowner. They have a compressor, and they spray, and they can put a brand new enamel glaze on your tub, and they can change it to whatever color you want. All right? So cheers, Michael Marcos. Welcome to the membership program. And attempting astrophotography. Remember, for 14 months. That's just awesome. Thanks for answering all my random questions. My host is slowly coming together with mostly your guidance. If I ever come to Texas, free barbecue for you all, well, then I'm coming to Texas because I love me some free barbecue. All right. Tom is in the house. How should I remove old baseboards that are jammed between the wall and added flooring? Got it. Okay. Old baseboards. Got it, right? So you got a floor. You got flooring. You got a baseboard. And then someone put more flooring. How do you get rid of them? Well, you cut across the top. You can pry them open. Grab yourself a Sawzall with a metal blade. Stick that in there. And slice off all the nails. Okay? Because it's either brad nails or it's old trim nails. And it'll cut through them like butter. And you can just slide that sucker right out of there. All right? All the rest of that effort, the hammering, the chiseling, the cutting, it'll drive you nuts. Reciprocator to the rescue. There should be zero electrical in that region at all, unless somebody was incredibly creative. So Michael, 3 months ago, he paid someone $3,500 to sand and refinish his hardwood floors. You got 2 dogs. 3 months later, they are all scratched up. Should I replace wood with life-proof vinyl from Home Depot? Oh my God. Oh, I feel for you, dude. Yeah. Here's the thing that nobody wants to talk about. When you refinish flooring, a lot of guys are using a water-based solution nowadays. Okay. And when you research those products, it'll say on the package, the product cures in 30 days. So you can't just do it and then move back in after a couple of days. You got to vacate, go to Europe, go to Argentina, come back in a month. Let that finish curing before you put your traffic to it, or it will fail. And I don't care what anybody in the industry says. They're full of it if they tell you otherwise. Even paint takes 30 days to cure before you can use the washable feature, and it's 100% acrylic. So don't buy it. I don't know, man. I tell you, back in the day, we used to be able to use oil, and it was a 24-hour cure, and boom, you were done. But we tried saving the planet, and now we're driving ourselves nuts with this water-based product. We end up throwing more flooring out. It just seems to be going backwards. Yeah, you know what? Do yourself a favor. Throw some vinyl on top and get yourself an underpad, unless it comes with it. In your situation, you're probably fine. But the impact noise of the nails, buying a cork underlay and just regular vinyl would probably be a really good solution for you. That's maddening, man. Go Board is from Lowe's. Loving it. I'm going to go to Lowe's. I haven't been to Lowe's in a long time. It's been like almost a year. And not because I hate Lowe's. It's just because like Lowe's came to our market maybe 8 years ago, give or take. And I've been a Home Depot shopper for like my whole life. So I know every aisle. I know when they change a product out. That's how well I know that store. They could hire me to tell me what's going on. I just walk in, boom, I'm in and out. I got my cart full. I don't have to think. I don't have to ask questions. I know where everything is. So they don't have a Go Board in Home Depot. So I go to Lowe's and I'll check it out. Every once in a while, I like to walk through there to see what they're recommending. You know, they got some cool stuff once in a while. But I don't want to have to learn another whole store inventory. You know what I mean? That'd just drive you nuts. Yeah, I'm still thinking about a handyman series. Here's the thing. Our team is currently on vacation. Summer vacation. So when they get back, it's another week and a half. We're going to have a meeting. We're going to come up with a strategy, and we're going to put together a plan, and then we will unveil that plan for everybody as to what we're doing about the handyman series. All right. So it's not that we forgot. We film weeks and weeks and weeks in advance. And so we're going to come up with a strategy so we can unveil that in a timely manner and be proficient instead of just throwing out a little bit here and a little bit there. If we're going to do it, we're going to have to do it right and do a bunch so that we give people enough information to be successful and not just, I could give them enough information to get them in trouble. Don't want to do that. All right. So we'll do that soon. Wendy replaced the gas heater with electric. Okay. Roofer covered the hole with paper and shingles. Okay. Should we cut out the shingles and put a vent in place, although it is not connected to anything? No. Although, not patching the aspenite in the roof, it can be an issue because the next roofer is going to go up there and step right through that bloody hole and fall through the roof. It would be nice if you could find a way to get underneath there and maybe throw up some plywood or something and fill that gap, just so that you don't lose the structural integrity of the waterproofing system. All right. Philip, sorry for the confusion. You scraped my white subway tiles with aluminum hard enough to leave a mark. What's the solution for polishing those scratches away? Unfortunately, that's not a scratch that can be polished away. You've actually caused damage to the surface of the tile now. Your best solution might now be to paint the tile white again. Yeah, I know. Crazy, eh? Sorry, dude. Sometimes we learn the hard way. Ouch. If you're not sure, guys, and you're grouting for the first time, don't buy the quick set grout. Buy the stuff that's really merciful that you can go back, make it wet the next day and still scratch it out and clean it up. Like, why do that to yourself? I know Home Depot and Lowe's are selling this crap. They're pushing it. They're saying, hey, use the hardener. It's got a sealer in it. It's really good. It's more expensive. And half of you guys go and install that and have to tear your walls out and build the wall from scratch again. And you go right back to the same store that told you to do that. Take an invoice. Say, here, you screwed me over. Here's a back charge. I'd love to see somebody take someone to court because that's lousy advice for a homeowner, first-time tiler, to give them that grout. They should all be shot. Alex Johnson. My home was built in 98. How can I tell if I have a vapor barrier on the ground side of the walls? Otherwise, should I still use a vapor barrier between the drywall and insulation? Okay, here's the deal. I don't know where you live, so I can't advise you on vapor barrier on the inside of your house. But I can tell you, if you go over to where the dirt meets the foundation wall and you dig down a couple inches and you don't see the dimpled membrane with the trim and the sealant, it's not done. It should be right at the ground or a little bit above it. Okay, it's easy to find. So Alex, if you don't have it, you don't have it. And depending on where you live, you can always ask. Location is everything with vapor barrier because you have to be in a part of the world where you have the heat on more than the air conditioning in order to put plastic inside the home. That's kind of like my basic rule. Okay. You can also just Google your own district, your city, whatever, and building office, and they'll be able to tell you. When siding, do I put half rigid foam board over the sheathing, half inch? Okay. Or do I put 2 inch, but then I have to build up the windows? Well, that's different. Are you insulating or are you siding? Because you don't have to insulate when you side. Right? So if you want to add insulation to your house, then that's fine. And you can. But you're right. Then you got to build up your windows. So that's completely on you. It's a way to increase your R value of your home. But it's not the only way. You're taking a look at all of your house systems now and you're saying, my sheathing, my air barrier, my thermal, you're tying in a whole lot of technology there. I would be interested to know, how old is your house? Where are you located? How thick are your walls? Do you know if it's insulated properly on the inside? Or do you plan on doing renovations down the road? Because a lot of times you could fix an outside and then you'll be doing the inside and you could have just fixed it a lot cheaper from the inside. It's a thought. But in most cases, and do you have a basement? I don't know. Right? Rigid foam should go all the way down the basement too. Right? So there's a lot there. Helgi, send me an email in the forum. Okay. Let me take a good look at your system. Make sure everything you're doing makes sense. Similar stories. Welcome to Money in the Bank. All right. Where are we? Boom, 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 boom. All right. Oh, do you know about micro cement? And cement topping we want to use for our remodel in the bathroom and shower floor. My main worry is that it'll be hard to clean and stain in the shower. Hoy. Yeah, I actually stayed in an Airbnb in Chelsea, Quebec, and they use this cement to finish off the bathroom floor and the shower walls. And, for 10 minutes, it looked pretty cool. It was like being in a cave. It was like, well, that's fun, But then after that, I'm just like, I don't like it. It's too much texture. There's no straight lines. It just, the whole thing started to bother me. It's trendy, and I'm not a big fan of trendy. The problem with trendy, and I'll be honest with you, is it can be really exciting, but you want to build a bathroom that's going to last 50 years. Okay. And trendy doesn't last 50 weeks, let alone 50 years. So stay away from it when you're dealing with your own house, because you don't want to have to reinvest in that again in 2 years because everyone's going, wow, what a lousy looking bathroom, So don't be that guy. But yeah, it works. As long as you've got good substructure. If you want to finish it with a thin cement, you can, but you've got to have waterproofing systems built in there because the cement is not anything. It's just facade. Enough said. Steven says, I have a frame shower with a leaking door. What is the best way to fix a leaking door? That all depends. Is your door leaking because you're missing the gaskets? Because you can go down to any glass supply shop. Most of them will have all of the little plastic gaskets that you can refit and retrofit your doors to keep them from leaking. So take a look at that. They're available aftermarket, and you can pull the old ones off if they get discolored and put a new one on just to freshen it up. It's a great tip before you sell your house, right? And that should work fine. You can also adjust. Almost every door has the ability to adjust, pivot, and in and left and right. So making minor adjustments over time, the swing of it, everything is on a screw. And so just swinging a door, eventually everything unscrews. So you can just kind of adjust it all back in place. Manuel. Hi, everyone. Just bought a 1955 house, Albany, New York. Now that's a project. He plans to repaint the bathtub and putting tiles on surround. What do you think about repainting the tub? I think you pay a professional to do it. There's not a YouTuber out there who's painted their own tub who said that it looked great who wasn't paid to say it. Is that fair enough to say? Like, no, don't do it. Okay? Pay a pro. It's a few $100. They're going to glaze your tub. They're not going to paint it. There's a difference, right? Like, would you take your car to somebody and pull out a paint roller and just start painting your car? No, you got to have professional equipment for this kind of stuff. And you can have it painted. Go do the tile work. Don't do any silicone. And then you call the reglazer. They'll come over. They'll schedule in about a week or so. They'll glaze the tub. The next day you can go in and do all your silicone work. That's the trick. They just don't want you siliconing because they want to be able to glaze right up to the tile and then you silicone. And that gives you a perfect waterproof seal over time. Because now your silicone is attached to the brand new tile and brand new glaze. And there's no way that can lift off. Okay. If you silicone first, they don't know what you're siliconing to. It might have been old silicone on the tub. It'll lift. And then they're going to get callbacks. Hey, the silicone lifted. And so they just don't do that anymore. It's like if there's silicone in that tub, when they show up, they just walk away. So, that's the process. All right. Should you use RedGuard over the Go board, or is that asking for trouble? I would ask the Go board people. I'm pretty sure they recommend a waterproof membrane roll-on with their system. I'm pretty sure. But I don't think it could hurt. They also use a sealant, and they have tapes. But I think, I might be misrepresenting Go board. I don't think they require a roll-on. Double check with them. Go to their Lowe's guys and say, hey, where's your manual? You sell a product, they're going to have an installation manual. Ask to see their information and double check with them. All right. And I will do my due diligence to learn more about Go board in the meantime. All right. Dr. Deb is in the house doing a bathroom renovation in Central Texas. Yeehaw. Turns out the interior wall was originally the exterior wall of the house. The house wrap is still on the sheathing. Love it. Leave it or take it off. Okay. Well, there is no reason to have an exterior sheathing on the inside of your shower, so feel free to get rid of it. There's always a possibility, Doc, that you're going to multiply your waterproofing systems and cause condensation to get trapped, so it's best to just get rid of it. Even though house sheathing breathes, yeah, if it doesn't need to be there, I just cut it out. Because we're like doctors. You're practicing. You're always learning. And the more you learn, the more you can apply to your next situation. We're the same way in our business. We're always learning. Technologies are changing. Our techniques are changing. The products are changing. What a product that has been the same for 30, 40 years, they have a design change, and they won't even tell you, and it operates differently. And all of a sudden, we're having problems. And so we're always practicing. We're always learning. It's just best. You got a foreign body inside the body. You don't want to roll the dice if everything's going to go well. Just cut it out. Question. So what was the story behind the black eye? God, I've answered that so many times in the comments in that video. One more time, real quick. I was working with my son, Nate. He's 6'3". He played basketball. I did it, sort of. We went and played basketball after work that day, and he was kicking my butt. And I'm competitive, so that's just the way it is. So I reached in for the ball while he drove to the net. Our heads collided. His forehead hit me right here, knocked off a chunk of the bone, knocked me out cold. I got up laughing. He was laughing. And then the next way we had to go and film because I had promised my YouTube followers I was going to make a video every week. I didn't have a video, so I had to go work. And so we got 2 or 3 videos of me sitting there with a shiner. It's not as sexy as you'd like it to be. It happened. Now, we can all move on. All right. Can you make a removing siding, new facade, putting up stone, brick, anything else, etc. video? Yes, I can. When? I have no idea. Listen, just so you all know, part of our plan for the next year was we are aggressively looking into opening up an American subsidiary of our company so that we can transfer our staff down to the United States with a work visa. It gives us a lot more room and flexibility for working in different markets and different environments because I can buy a house in the United States in some markets for $50,000. I can't buy a house in Canada anywhere for $50,000. And winter's hard to work outside and do siding projects. So we're trying to create a little more flexibility so that we can always be filming. And buying a house in the States makes some sense. So we're going to do that. I would love to buy a pig that needs completely makeover. And I think that'd be a lot of fun. So yeah, it'll be happening one of these days. And we'll see. I can't promise anything, but I'm going to be around for a while. I can promise you that. Matthew Cole, 1890s home in Nova Scotia, purchased in April. Nice. When digging holes for frost footing. My screen just went crazy. There we go. Okay. Under the front porch, lots of large rocks with gaps, spaces 3 feet down, insufficiently filled or washout. Here's the thing. There's so much rock out there, dude. Like, it's just impossible to get a perfect footing. Man, oh man. Yeah, you're doing a front porch. It's really hard to say. I wouldn't want to be able to, I wouldn't want to blame anybody's integrity on that. Right? Like, bottom line, you got more rock than dirt out there. So it is what it is. Do your best to get a footing. But my God, like, you're going to have to make a really big hole. You're going to want to use a sonotube, okay? Because you want to put in a sonotube, you want to have smooth surfaces so that the rocks, when the frost does get to them at 2 and 3 feet deep, it isn't going to lift the whole damn thing out of the ground, right? My Lord, I'd almost grab some dynamite and shove it down the damn hole, make a nice big hole. Yeah. Have you taken a look at, see, in the 1890, they didn't give a damn. Right? They just built the house. And whatever happened to the porch happened to the porch. They'd fix it every 30 to 50 years. Who cares? Nowadays, we're so concerned about how the porch. Listen, it's going to move. It's going to go up and down. And it'll settle. It'll lift in the winter. It'll settle in the spring. If every hole is done exactly the same, that's going to be what happens. Just make sure how you tie into the house isn't relying on a nail and there's some gravity involved, right? You want to have a couple of beams going right through the brick and then sitting on wood inside the home. That's really the secret. Go super old school and you'll be successful. Otherwise, take a look at these helical pile, these guys that are using the big screws, right? We had a short, we were at, in February, we were in the trade show. And there's guys, they got these great big 8-inch screws and they're doing 12 feet long and they're just driving them into the ground. I don't even know if that would work in a rocky ground, but give them a call. See if anybody out there is doing anything to help you in that regard. Carrie Condor, welcome to Money in the Bank. God, I wish I had better news for you, but it's not sexy. Okay, moving on. Where are we here, dude? 7 Heroes fan. Love the idea of painting the tub, but I want to add a frame to it. A frame on the front side of it to add depth and decoration. Like, do I need to use hardy board on top of the wood frame? Okay, so you got a regular tub and you want to build a skirt in front of it to make it look like a drop-in tub. Nothing wrong with that at all. Okay, whatever you build, just make sure that you are building it so it's secure and it's not moving. Right, 16 on center, plywood, even cement board if you want, then tile it and then get a good silicone seal up to the tub. That's the same technology we use for any other drop-in tub, right? And when you're done your tub, you get out, you take your towel when you're done drying off, you give it a quick wipe, make sure you're not leaving water sitting there because sitting water will get underneath silicone, lift it up. That's a solution to your problem. Joe, to put a car lift in the existing garage, how to tell how thick the concrete floor is, and if not thick enough, can it be thickened? Or no, can do without knocking down and rebuild from scratch. Yeah, forget it. Joe, garages are going to be 4 inches. Okay, you can't put equipment on that. It's not structural. You know what I mean? Like garages where we live, they're not created to be structural load points. And if you're going to put in a lift, that's a structural load point. You're going to have to cut that out. You're going to have requirements. You're going to have to dig a hole. You're going to have to put a footing. You're going to need rebar. You're going to need that engineer dude. Contact the structural engineer, Joe. Get the drawings for how to do that lift. All right? Or you are literally putting your life at risk. Just saying. It's just not worth it. Next. 6:34. We're getting there. Okay. Dave and Karen. Can I spray foam rim joist before basement framing? Yes. What you want to do is you want to spray the outside of that rim joist and then the bottom, okay, right up until your interior wall. And if you got to tuck a little fiberglass paint between your wall and your concrete foundation, do that. Well, I'm looking at Matt instead of the camera. That's fine. So you come right across. There's a little gap between the wall and the concrete. Stuff some fiberglass in there, and then spray foam right over onto the wall. Okay, that's how you do that. It's continuous. It's an air seal. It's a thermal break, and it works perfect. And that is what you want to do. Don't worry about the sides because that's part of the interior system. Okay, no worries. Just add a couple of inches to the back, and you're good to go. All right, Mike, welcome to the membership program. And when replacing copper with PEX in exposed areas, i.e. basement, do we need to run the PEX line back through the original joist studs holes, or we can strap it to the outside? There is no rule that says you got to run your plumbing through your joist cavity. But if you ever go to finish that basement, you're going to have to strap everything 3/4, okay? So there you go. That's enough. Jeff should bring back the black eye for a shorts video for a laugh. Okay, enough of the black eye. Listen, the way I work, I'm going to get one sooner or later. All right, that's just going to happen. So we'll see when it happens. It happens. Safety third. How should I prep my garage floor for high solids epoxy floor, Ohio, 1950s house, original garage? Wow. Here's the answer to your question, Karen. There are so many products on the market. Go to the person that you bought the product from. They'll have their own technical data sheet for how to handle your own house. There is no one solution for every different product on the market because they're all made differently. I'm doing an epoxy floor in a garage soon, and we're doing some different preparations on that floor. And we're also using a treatment over the epoxy to make it pretty much bulletproof so it's easy to wash later. I will say this. The epoxies that are sold, those cute little kits, are cute and little when it comes to performance. And so consider that. If you want long-lasting durability, you want to do it once, and you want to have your great-great-grandchildren be able to have a clean floor, you're going to want to follow my system. It's going to be coming out around Christmas. But yeah, if you're looking for 20 to 30 years of durability, any epoxy floor will work. But the secret is a 1950s house will not have a vapor barrier underneath that garage. It should have a bunch of gravel, but I can't guarantee it, depending where you live. Ohio probably has gravel. But if you don't do a core sample, you won't know. So if it's poured on dirt, you're going to moisture transfer. If it's backfilled with stone, then you won't have the moisture transfer to the same degree. So then the epoxy will work out just fine. It's really the biggest issue. We have lots of people who epoxy or paint the floors in the basement, don't have a moisture barrier, and it just bubbles up because the moisture is coming through, and the paint's going to lift. It's a surface. It's skin. It's like a skin, right? And that's what happens. Mike, is it worth painting my pebble dash stucco? Is this type of stucco good for northern climate? Yeah, it's good for any climate. It's like bulletproof, that stuff. And yeah, you can paint it. But it's a stucco. It's masonry, right? You want to stain it. I would suggest that you go do a Google search for the paint store of your choosing, right? Like even Sherwin-Williams or whatever. I don't care. But do a little Google search and get the commercial store because they're going to have a stain product for masonry. Ask them about the product to use for your particular facade. Again, whenever you're maxing up technology with the old technology, you want to make sure that the guy who's supplying you the product has got the answer to your question. Third-party answers are no good to you here. I have never done this, so I'm not sure exactly what product to use or what the application should be, or if you should wet it first or make sure it's dry, or there's just too many different variables. So the guy that sells it to you should have all the information, or he shouldn't be selling it. That's the bottom line. John, should I build a tile built-in bench or buy a shower pan with a bench built into it? I know. Oh, okay. I get it. Going for return investment. I'm going to suggest that there's a couple of companies out there that make an acrylic shower pan that have a 2-foot high wall that have a built-in bench. And it's a great product, right? Like talk about return investment. I've installed those before. It's great. It's functional. It's not master bath sexy, but is your house master bath sexy, right? you gotta be practical about your renovation. Are you making something? I got it. Okay. Are you making it? My house is worth $300,000 sexy, or are you making it? My house is worth $8 million sexy, right? Because too many people, they look at our Architectural Digest, they look at the TV, and they watch all the millionaires, and they go, "Oh, I want that," and they put it in a $250,000 house, and they just wasted 40 grand because no one's giving you the money to pay for that bathroom. Especially when most bathrooms that people are making nowadays are going to fail because the people that are installing them aren't trained and they're mixing product lines. At the end of the day, be practical. If your house is worth more than 350 or 400, consider it. Consider going all custom. It's not tricky. They make foam triangles and stuff. You can tile a bench in. It's not that tricky. But, if you've got a house and it's an average neighborhood, an average home, and there's nothing all that sexy about any other part of the house, grab yourself an acrylic with a built-in bench. Make your life simple. You don't have to worry about your waterproofing system. I say go make it simple and keep it that way. Alex, metal framing a basement with pressure-treated base plates under steel track. Should I ram shot through the wood and steel 3.5-inch nails or just the wood and then use number 6 fine thread screws? Ram shot the whole damn thing. One little update. Alex, throw in a sill gasket between the metal and the pressure-treated. Pressure-treated wood that we're using nowadays has got chemicals in it that's going to eat at that metal over time. Okay, so put a little plastic barrier there and then just fire all the way through. Again, it's part of the whole we learn as we go, right? We're practicing. Always. God, there's no way to know everything. Everything's changing constantly. Carrie, my garage has a never-ending supply of little spiders and little millipede things. That's called moisture. Whenever you got moisture, you get bugs, which means you get spiders. Yeah, how cool. I've started caulking along the floor and baseboards. What are the other important areas to seal, or is it futile? It's futile. Give it up. You're going to have bugs. You got an older house and there's moisture. And so as long as there's moisture, the bugs are there. They're attracted to it. They can literally lick the concrete and get the moisture content that they need for their life. And then it just goes bigger and bigger and bigger from there. Joel, welcome to Money in the Bank, dude. The J Flywheel, he stubbed out a new copper water line for a smart toilet. Oh, nice. It expects a threaded MNPT stub out. The toilet manufacturer recommended a shark bite fitting. Make the stub out threaded. Okay, so you can use shark bite inside the room as long as you can see it. The big shark bite debate, right? Oh, can we use it? Can we use it? Yeah, they're giving you a 25-year warranty now, but we like to build for 50, so it's kind of confusing. I say if you're going to use shark bite, you should have access to visibly look at it and inspect it on a regular basis. So if it starts to leak, at least you're aware of it, right? It's one thing to mop the floor and go, oops, I need a new shark bite. It's another thing to have your house rot out and go moldy and go, ooh, I need a new shark bite, right? So that's the deal. Matthew Recap, use sonotubes. Okay, good. It was 2 days to dig 4 holes. Yeah, no kidding. Rented a huge auger, 8 inches before rocks jammed it up. Got the 6x6 in and looking sexy to replace the rotted out laminated. Yeah, good, man. Just do the best you can. Like, you're in a part of the world that's just not going to be very conducive to digging a hole. So the good news is with all that rock, there's not enough organics there to hold water. Usually your drainage is good. So even when it does get cold and it freezes, there's no moisture there. There's not like you're full of clay and it's going to all have water holding and then expand, right? Because after -5, water expands. That's where you run into trouble. So if it's all rock and you got holes, it means you got drainage. So you probably be fine. You got to love the answer, probably. But, not everything is a home run. It's an old farmhouse. They built it there because that's where the dirt was that they were going to be farming with. They didn't care about the rock. They just built the house. 100 years later, you're walking up the stairs sideways and no one cares. Chance Carter, welcome to Money in the Bank, my friend. And Tom, welcome to the membership club. Loving the shield. All right. Yadong front door doesn't match or doesn't latch in the summer. Will in winter. Is it the door or is it the framing around the door? Lack of insulation around it. Okay. Can I get back to that? I got to make sure I got my math right. So it doesn't latch in the summer, but it will in the winter. It's probably a metal door and it probably warps. That's all it is. Right? Is it because it's not closing enough? Or is it because it's twisting in the frame? That's what you got to figure out. If it's twisting in the frame, that means that somebody installed it in the wintertime when something had moved and they made it work. And in the summertime, it moves back and it doesn't work. Does that make sense? But if it works in the wintertime and in the summertime, it just won't close and catch, it's because the door itself is warping in the heat. If it's a southern facing door, it happens. So what I tell people is take your latch, okay, and drill 2 holes, one for winter location and one for summer location. It's the best you can do. Like, there's really no solution to that problem, right? I know it sucks, but twice a year, you're going to have to pull out a screwdriver and adjust it. That's okay. It'll work. All right. Tom, longtime subscriber, first time caller. Thoughts on DIY solar? Enough space in the backyard. Whole array can face south and put together the panels and racks myself. I think we're at a point right now, Tom, where solar is actually starting to pay off. So it's not just a morality issue. It's actually financially viable. DIYing it actually makes a little bit of sense because it's cost effective. I tried taking a look at solar for my church project when I was doing research early on. And up here, we just can't get any. Like, we're really short on stock on the product. It's like the one thing that everybody's excited about. Oh, solar, wind power, alternative energy, but we can't buy the panels. So supply chain issue. But if you can get a hold of it, I think DIY solar makes sense. There are people that have, lots of people have done this on YouTube, especially. Just trying to think. There's one couple that built their own house. They've got kids and it's an A-frame and they added solar farm. Can't remember the name of that channel off the top of my head. But no, not that. It was the guy with the beard. A big beard and tats, and they got like 14 kids or something and bunnies and stuff. Anybody knows the name of that channel, even though they built their whole house on themselves, but they did solar, and he's competent. And so if you wanted to follow his technique, it works, I'm sure. There's lots of people doing lots of building on YouTube that aren't competent, but they were good. One wild, wonderful off-grid. There you go. Right? There you go. Yeah, Tom, wild, wonderful off-grid. Check out that channel. I'm pretty sure they just did solar at their house, and I would trust him. He's not a professional when it comes to building houses, but he is when it comes to mechanical, I think. And so this is right up his alley. Chance Carter, just bought my first house. For some reason, the addition they built has 2 inside doors separated by an old outside wall. How can you tell if a wall is load bearing to join the 2 openings? You and I can't. That's why we call a structural engineer. End of discussion, right? We just don't have a choice. There's too many different ways to build a house, and there are too many factors that compound. Bottom line is this. If you have a house with a gable roof, that end wall is usually non-load bearing, except for itself. Unless it's a 2-story home, and then sometimes the main floor of the joists go this way, and the second floor are going this way. God help you then, right? You just don't know. So you got to get a structural engineer in to find out, because they will know. They know how to look. They can make sense of it all, and they can draw up a plan to help you so that you can remove it if you need to. And so that is always my best advice. I am not going to tell anybody, oh, I think for sure this time, here's how you do it. I don't want to ever get a phone call. Somebody ripped out a load-bearing wall thinking it wasn't load-bearing because of something I said on my channel. So I just got to stick with get the expert, because I don't want to get that phone call. It's too serious, and it happens too sudden. When you've got structural load-bearing, and it just can't. I was doing Christmas lights. I'm climbing a tree. I'm 20 some odd feet up there like an idiot climbing, and it's cold. It was November? The ground was cold, hard. And I'm up there and I'm asking myself this important question everybody should ask when you're climbing a tree in November. What is the structural load shear strength of this branch that I'm standing as I came crashing down, and I sheared off every branch on that tree right until I hit the ground. My boys were younger, and they were like, 12, 10, and they literally pissed themselves laughing. I'm laying on the ground, and I'm like, check to see if I've been penetrated. Did I thrust through? I was in pain. I was fine. I hit enough branches. I never got to terminal velocity. You know what I mean? But what a mess. Anyway, that's what structure does. When it goes, it goes. It doesn't go lean and bend and moan and creak. Warning, evacuate. It's over. so I don't give structural advice. If you want to know, call a pro. I don't want that phone call. Falling out of a tree was enough for me. All right. What's your go-to for filling expansion and isolation joints? Am I on the right question? No. Back to Joel. Hello from Cornwall. 1961 home with cinder block foundation. Perfectly good home. Plan is to renovate the basement, but not enough light. Haha. I would like to add another window, 30 by 20. Okay. Do you think this is a DIY job? Can be, Joel, but again, now we're dealing with structure again. 30 inches means you're dealing with more than 1 or 2 floor joists. So you pretty much are screwed. You got to get yourself a structural engineer. Now, he's going to tell you what to do, how to do it. He's going to give you the drawings, and he's going to give you the stamp. Okay? Something like that's going to require a permit, and he'll give you the stamp, and then the city inspector will come in and go, yep, you did it according to the plan, you pass. End of discussion. No city official in the world can argue with an engineer. So if you follow the plan, you always win. All right? And that is the way it goes. And you can do it yourself. Sure, you can cut cinder block, a quick cut saw. Just cut right through that sucker. All right? Cut a new hole. Boom. Done. Ain't nothing to it. What's your go-to for filling expansion and isolation joints in concrete slabs? Pink cell seal, the foam stuff, rigid insulation, that organic black stuff from Home Depot, nothing at all. Well, yeah, it's okay to put something in it, right? Like the black stuff is nice. Expansion joints need to expand. So whatever you're putting in there, it needs to have substance, but can be compressed. I don't know where you live, Yinzer House. Oh, shoot. I should know better. I've answered enough questions over the years. Why is that evading me? Yeah, I'm actually in the school of that should be a Google search for your area. What to use for expansion joints for where you live. You're going to get good advice. Whoa, Matt, what happened? Oh, don't even bother. He's told me before many times. I just forget. You know, there's just too many members. I can't keep on top of everybody. It just drives me nuts. My brain is not what it used to be. All right. The organic black stuff is going to work fine. So you can stuff it in. And the only point for the expansion gap stuff to go in there is so that it doesn't fill up with organics. Especially if you have a 4-season climate, you don't want organics in that gap because organics hold moisture and then they freeze and then they expand and it breaks your concrete. So worst case scenario, whatever you do, if you're concerned about it and you're in a 4-season climate, pressure wash your gaps just before the snow flies. Clean that crap out and give yourself room. Okay. There's a question there about tips for getting rid of ants. Yeah. Find out why your house is so wet that they want to live in it. At the end of the day, every house, ants work like this. They'll find something dead like a tree, and they'll make a nest. And then they send out scouts to find the next place because ants are constantly growing, proliferating, and they make like 8,000 babies every 9 minutes. So they got to grow. They're like Christopher Columbus, these guys. They're like, I got to go find new dirt. So they'll all go in different directions. So some will come to your house, and they'll walk around a little bit and go, hey, this wood over here is pretty soft. We can eat this and make a nest. And so that's what happens. Once you got them, you're done. So why is your wood wet? Solve that answer and make your wood dry, and ants won't be a problem. And you can also have the ant guy come out and kill it. And it is 6:53. It is time to go to rapid fire. Boom, boom, boom. Tin Sung Wong, welcome to membership. Love it. What a great name. Wait, that's not a membership. That's just a tip. No question. Okay, no problem. Let's move on. Bring it down to current. Is that current? We're here. 7 minutes, guys. Rapid fire. Time to go. If you got a question, ask it. Yins or Pittsburgh? Yeah, Pittsburgh. Black and yellow, black and yellow. All right. Okay, 24-inch floor joist, 15-inch span, 2x8. Should I run more full length or cross brace them every extra stiffen the floor? 1950 home. 15-foot span on 2x8s is too much. It's going to have a bounce no matter what you do. There's not much you can do with that. If you want to stiffen that up, you either got to add a beam or you got to laminate with 2x10s and put in new ceilings. Just learn to love it. Okay. Make sure whatever flooring choice you put in there is a floating floor and it's got a little flexibility, and just learn to love it. Or put in a beam, my friend. Joe K, bathtub. Is it better to go with those wall insert surrounds or do tile? You can do an acrylic surround, a couple $100 and some adhesive, done, waterproof, guaranteed. Will, welcome to Money in the Bank. Why do fools fall in love? Oh boy, the grout in the shower is cracking. Any suggestions? Yeah, if it's cracking, it's probably because it's in a corner and you don't have silicone. So clean it out and add silicone instead. If it's cracking and it's not in the corner, it's because it wasn't mixed properly. So clean it out and add new grout. There you go. Where else are we, dude? Just go to the bottom. That's fine. Do penguins have any rapid fire? We're asking questions like this. Penguins have any? I have no bloody idea. If they do, though, they sure need to get some medication because they don't look like they walk like they do. All right. Okay. Yeah, Karen, if you check your moisture, you're good to go. Salt for applying epoxy. Yeah, you definitely clean it, pressure wash it, etch it, whatever you want to do. It's probably a good idea. Okay, we're back to the 600 pounds, not 6,000. Well, that's different, but it's still not great because right now it's 600 pounds. I would say contact the manufacturer of your hoist, Angelo. And if they say, yeah, you're going to put it in your garage, and have them put it in writing. And then if they're not going to put it in writing, it's because they really don't know what the hell they're talking about. Drop-in fiberglass tub has no built-in tile flange. Best way to transition. Get a different tub, Will. There's two kinds of tubs. There's a drop-in and there's an alcove. Alcove tubs are designed to have tile and water come down the walls. A drop-in tub that doesn't have a tile flange is not. The only thing on the market to modify that is a silly little flange and use silicone. That's buried in the wall, and silicone that gets wet fails, and so it is an absolute time bomb. Do not use it. Okay, Isabel says, I'm talking about the finished edge of the tub that is above the drop-in frame. Do you just put the membrane under it? And my brain just gave up. Should I use CurdyFix along the side of the tub surround against the wall? That's a great idea. Front of the drop-in. Yeah, CurdyFix is a great sealant. You can also use Lepage 2-in-1 or Tight Bond 2-in-1 seal and bond. Okay, all of them work. The CurdyFix is just a superior and also a pain in the butt. If you get it anywhere else, it's there for life. It's not as easy to work with. So consider Lepage or Tight Bond 2-in-1 seal and bond. It'll give you the same result, but it's a little easier to work with. All right, guys, this is awesome. 2 hours, boom. Wow. Can't believe I survived that. It's been a long day. We're out in the heat. We're building an outdoor project. You're not going to see it probably until like February because we're not going to release it until people are interested in learning about how to do these projects. So we're doing it now and we're going to put it up later, but that's it. Thanks everybody for coming. Thanks for joining. If we didn't get to your question, please just jump into the forum, ask it. Okay. I'm pretty much caught up. I think I'm a few hours behind, but not a big deal. I'm going to have time this week to be able to jump in there. Make sure you hit the thumbs up, share this with people, and all that other wonderful stuff, right? Yeah, that's it. I love hanging out with you. We're going to do more of this. More and more and more. When the kids get back from vacation, we're going to make some more plans. We're going to see. This is a crazy ride we're on. Things are growing. We just hit 2.5 million subs. Amazing. Thank you for all that support. And yeah, what else do you say? Like, my life has completely changed. And no longer do I have to work past 2 o'clock. I love it. Blood, sweat, and tears, baby. That's me. We will see you again in a few weeks when we do the next live show. Until then, cheers, and keep your stick on the ice.